I mean,
no. I was going to say no worries there, Rusty. When I saw the film opening night, I too was crying, and I scared the audience because they were like, "Are you crying because of Leo?" And I said, "No, that's my ship."
You know, just out of interest, how do you feel about, because there's been a lot of controversy now, the Titanic Foundation have brought up a lot of artefacts that have been scattered around the Titanic. Now, I personally believe that the Titanic is a grave, and it should be left as a grave. It shouldn't be plundered. And I know that's a pretty strong word, but that's how I feel. How do you feel about that?
Oh, my goodness. Well, plundered is exactly the correct word. Okay, I'm a type of person that I don't believe that they should. Whenever they find a crypt in Egypt, okay, that's a grave, and I mean, and they break into it. It's ravaged. It's put on display. No, I think the Titanic. I don't support. I mean, it's, you know what, to use a very strong word. Okay, the site is being raped. Yep.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Personally, I would not like to... Sorry, William, am I talking over the top of you?
No problem. I was just going to say, in regards to it, I look at it like this. In regards to the artifacts themselves, I actually lean more towards, salvaging the artifacts, but strictly if it's from the debris field and it's going to go into a museum. Like over here, we've had a multiple number of area schools actually have the Titanic as required reading as part of their English and literature curriculum. So the teachers have been able to formulate field trips to help from the educational side, which in turn has also helped to boost the memory of the ship itself to the next generation.
I suppose when you look at it that way, I can understand that. Personally, myself, if I was stuck at the bottom of the sea in a wreck, I'm not sure if I would like my body to remain down there, but I would prefer it to be left alone, no matter where it is. And quite a few, and not just the Titanic, but other places too, like you say, the crypts in Egypt, where they bring up the mummies and they put them into a museum on show. For God's sake, I mean, these people are at rest, and it doesn't matter how old they are. They should be left as they are, alone, where they were put.
I would like to state that it will not be the Titanic herself that we're going to be investigating, but it's going to be the physical area of sea where she went down at, because that's where the tragedy occurred, and we believe that that's where the EVPs are to be had.
I'm actually quite certain that you'll get something. I mean, if the conditions are right, it's very well known that EVPs are able to be obtained when the conditions are right. But just out of interest, how did you get into the paranormal, William? Were you dragged in by Matthew, or?
Well, I'm more of a belated on-stepper into it. For most of my life, I was somewhat skeptical about it, but I did have a personal experience back in 2004, and it was almost of a visual sighting per se, and that kind of opened my doors the rest of the way. In regards to my involvement with Matthew, that actually was somewhat of a humorous meeting per se. My high school biology teacher had found an article about the Society of the Dead and their involvement with the Titanic. And for myself, I've been a Titanic historian here in South Florida for about 30 years. So my teacher sent me the newspaper article, and the moment that I read it, I started looking up the Society of the Dead and started to get in contact with Matthew and offered my services almost immediately.
Right. Now, how do you... what we're going to do is we're going to go for a quick break, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to ask you some questions about how you intend to obtain the EVPs, what sort of equipment you've got, and we'll take it from there. Now, for those who are in another country and don't know, tomorrow is Australia Day, which is like the 4th of July for those in the States. So we do have some Australian music, and if you don't like it, that's just a bit of tough luck. But so stick around. We'll be back right after these announcements and some music.
I know what you're going through.
I've been there.
Nobody else I know has been there.
It's not easy being a veteran.
Coming back from Iraq or Afghanistan, I had been so excited to come home.
But it's harder than I thought.
Not everyone understands that.
Things at home may be as you left them.
But you don't feel the same.
Join us at communityofveterans.org.
And connect to others who are going through the same thing.
Because no one knows what it's like to come back unless they were there.
Brought to you by Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America and the D.E.A.D Council.
Paranormal Australia, the country's largest online paranormal community and home of Rusty O'Neill's mysterious and unexplained discussion forum. Visit www.paranormal.com.au. Thousands of topics, tens of thousands of replies and opinions, dozens of portals to suit every interest group. Always growing, always developing, always getting better, and waiting for you to join us. Visit www.paranormal.com.au.
This summer, it will pay to be fire ready by staying informed about bushfires and adhering to total fire bans, by making a plan, writing it down and practicing it. Be fire ready by attending community meetings where possible. For more information and to get your fire ready kit, SMS Fire Kit to 13GOVT or visit fireready.vic.gov.au. Fire Ready. It's about living with fire. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
There was movement at the station, for the word had passed around that the colt from Old Regret had got away. And he joined the wild bush horses. He was worth £1,000, so all the cracks had gathered to the fray. All the tried and noted riders from the stations near and far had mustered at the homestead overnight. All the bushmen love hard riding where the wild bush horses are, and the stock horse snuffs the battle with delight. There was Harrison who won his pile when Pardon won the cup, and the old man with his hair as white as snow. But few could ride beside him when his blood was fairly up. He would go wherever horse or man could go. And Clancy of the Overflow came down to lend a hand. No better horseman ever held the reins, for never a horse could throw him while the saddle girth would stand, and he learned to ride while droving on the plains. And one was there, a stripling on a small and weedy beast. He was something like a racehorse undersized, with a touch of time or pony, 3 parts thoroughbred at least, and such as are by mountain horsemen prized. He was hard and tough and wiry, just the sort that won't say die. There was courage in his quick and patient tread, and he bore the badge of gameness in his bright and fiery eyes, and the proud and lofty carriage of his head. But still so slight and weedy, one would doubt his power to stay, and the old men said, that horse will never do. For a long and tiring gallop, lad, you better stay away. Those hills are far too rough for such as you. So he waited sad and wistful, only Clancy stood his friend. I think we ought to let him come, he said. And I warrant he'll be with us when he's wanted at the end. For both his horse and he are mountain bred. For he hails from Snowy River, up by Kosciuszko's side, where the hills are twice as steep and twice as rough. Where are horses who strike firelight from the flintstones every stride, and a man that holds his own is good enough. And the Snowy River riders on the mountains make their home.